Hello. We are
We
here.
are. Yes, we
We
are.
are live. All
Hi, Laura.
right.
See you in the chat.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. We are here for you this week. Not for us, for you
Not for us,
this week.
for you. Well, we're
hmm
kind of here for us.
Yeah. We like to hear ourselves talk.
Un poquito. It's
uh,
true.
anyways, we're excited to get on to another episode. So let's get into it. If you are ready, Gil, I'm ready.
Ready to go. Let's do this thing.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Thunderdome of Unusual Deaths. Tina Turner yells, "Remember where you are. This is Thunderdome, and death is listening and will take the first man that screams." Well, by turkey, cheese, dancing, or sharks, death comes to all. And we're going to wade through the mud that is another edition of Most Unusual Deaths throughout history. Good morning and afternoon, evening, and good night, and welcome to the Black Cat Report. We are on episode 136. I am Joey, and with me is the Charlotte Street Harlot, the Amboy Road Toad, the Chicken Alley Baddie, Gil. He is
Would it
here
be
for
incriminating
you
if I
all.
acknowledged it? I hope it's not incriminating.
No.
Anybody who's been to Asheville and learned that obscure piece of history will know all of
Yeah.
that is true.
hmm All of it. We are going through the mud, Doobie the Cat, wading right through it.
Yes.
Well,
And
today.
for everybody else, I'm just going to drop it on them. Chicken Alley is a notorious spot for sex workers, or at least it used to be
Used to
10,
be.
15
It's
years
not
ago
anymore.
in Nashville's notorious history. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, Joey
Notorious.
just called me a slut. Thank you, Joey.
I did say the Charlotte Street Harlot
Well,
was your first one.
yeah, you called me a slut, a sex worker, and I'm pretty sure you said nice man somewhere in there, but I appreciate
I did say Toad. Take
it.
that what you will.
Oh my gosh. I will wear this
But
title proudly, sir.
you also try to come up with names of streets in Asheville and then things that are part of it. Well, today we are going to continue our journey into unusual deaths in history, part 2. We'll be getting back to the conclusion of the Seawind murders in the We'll be getting back to the conclusion of the Seawind murders and Palmyra Atoll next week. So let's get back into our journey throughout unusual deaths of history, because I also found so many good ones that I wanted to do the second episode of this. So let's jump right into this. Gil, formerly a toad. uh, well, since it's summer, kind of the end of summer, and I want to try to scare you out of the water. Our first story of unusual deaths takes place in early to mid July of 1916. So at this time, it happens in the most cultural of all places, the New Jersey shoreline. It was a big situation.
What happened to the
We're
old Jersey shoreline?
yeah, it fell into the water. I don't know.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are talking about a mass shark attack. So, on July 1st at Beach Haven, which why do these places always have to have such a nice name? Oh, nice and Beach Haven, a bunch of sharks attack people, which is located on Long Beach Island. A man named Charles Van Zant was vacationing at a hotel with his family. Shortly after he decided to go for a pre dinner swim, which is important because, as we know from our young days, you can't swim up to an hour after you eat. Make sure you do not swim an hour after you eat. Well, shortly after entering the water, Van Zant started shouting, and people thought he was calling for his dog. But a lifeguard, usually the only one realizing stuff going on in this situation, realized what was going on and ended up pulling Van Zant out of the water. And as Van Zant as the lifeguard was dragging him out of the water, the shark was following him. So the shark bit him on the left thigh and it stripped his leg of flesh. And sadly,
Oh,
he bled to death at the manager's death at the manager's desk. So basically, so this is crazy thing nowadays is like it nowadays this is like easily savable. A lot of times most people don't die because of shark attacks, and I think this
hmm
is why this is such an unusual thing. I will also say the reason why these shark attacks are crazy is because a lot of them happen in the span of like 5 days, and so
Okay.
everyone was talking about it. But before, like, to make it even crazier is before this there was not really any known shark attacks. Like, there
It's because
wasn't
the
that
sharks
many.
killed the person that was keeping track of them.
Yes,
This is
yeah, they
the
went
this is
after the
this is
note taker.
this is the exact same reason, the exact same shit of why I've been deathly afraid of manatees for going on 15 years now. Um, Ever since, and it had nothing to do with me being on LSD, somebody explaining swimming with manatees with me, and like, just all the visuals that came with it. But I realized that these slow, lumbering elephants of death they're basically they're sloth ninjas of the rivers, in my
Manatees?
opinion. And yeah, and I've looked it up. I've tried so hard to find any recorded deaths of people killed by manatees, and there's nothing. Now, there's like 40 people a year that get killed by vending machines. All right, there is no way in hell people aren't getting massacred on a daily basis by manatees. I'm just saying, why did they get so close to the boats that they get chopped up? I think it was self-defense of the boat drivers. Might be a big thing, but I'm pretty sure they are hunting down and killing all the statisticians. That's yeah.
You know what, Gil?
I love
I'm gonna
every other
finally
animal.
I'm gonna
Manatees,
take a
fuck them.
stand. Finally, I'm taking a stand against you. This is it. I'm taking the gloves off. You are gonna sit here and badmouth the cows of the sea, the sweetest animals that never attack a human being.
Sounds like they have a good PR team. I don't know, man.
Hmm. The ones
I
that
don't
are
know.
the only ones that can sell T-shirts. Manatee.
Oh my gosh.
The
Mana
only ones
t-shirts.
that
Step
can
on
sell
up and get your
T-shirt.
mana
Yep, mana
t-shirts.
T-shirts. The only one that can sell T-shirts to people and not kill a human being. Because unlike Shamu and all the killer whales, orcas that murder people that sell a trillion
Mhm.
T-shirts,
It's true.
they
Yeah.
won't. They're
Well,
not
they're
hurtful.
just putting on that good guy persona. And Joey, I think that this is a perfect time to segue into today's episode sponsor. Manatees T-shirts located in Tampa, Florida, 336 Fake Highland Drive. If y'all are in the mood to get killed by a manatee, go there or don't. We don't care. They already paid us.
Yeah, you already got your T-shirt. So,
T-shirts. Why
yeah.
why is the t-shirt my son sent me from his trip covered in blood? Oh yeah, there's also a funeral invitation. They said they're still looking for the killer. No! I thought he
Oh,
would be safe as a statistician.
and
And
it's
I'm
just a
sitting in
manatee
the
doing
back,
this with the dead
a
body
knife,
floating behind
a
it.
fucking cleaver, and it's
Yeah, with the cleaver in his hand. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That tracks. And by the way, when you
no, but
started saying manatee, I thought you meant
Mhm.
like a stingray, and so I was just like, oh,
Oh no,
obviously they've killed people. They killed Steve Irwin, one of the most famous animal people in the world.
it's the only saint of our generation.
True,
Yeah,
truth. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, the next shark attack happened on July 6th in Spring Lake, which is not too far down the coast from where the first one happened. But there in Spring Lake, there were a lot of reports coming in of large sharks swimming off the coast from sea captains. So a
Mhm.
bunch of people were sitting on the side. A bunch of sea captains were maneuvering their boats in the area, being just like, "There's a bunch of sharks over there," and so people were just like, it's fine. We're just gonna swim anyways." Well,
They're
I mean,
harmless. Not
they're
like those
harmless.
manatees. Did you hear what they've been doing down in Florida?
Mm-hmm. Eating legs.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Num num
That's
num
I
num.
did wanna say real quick, and this can get edited into whatever random area later, um, but the reason everybody thinks that all the scars on manatees' bodies are from boat propellers, right? They're actually from knife fights. So, it's another way to look at it, and I do wanna also point out what Laura said, uh, I bet they blame the sharks. I think we've got honestly, a BCR ecology conspiracy happening here. I'm for it.
Mm-hmm. The
So
manatees are the ones blaming the sharks, or the yes. That makes
we
sense.
need to look into who
A
funded
theory.
Jaws. That's what I'm saying.
I will get into that in a few minutes. The end of this story.
Manatee
Well,
International. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, a man named Charles Bruder was attacked by a shark that bit his abdomen and then severed his legs, right?
Jesus
So
Christ. Yeah.
basically severed this guy almost pretty much in half. And again, a lifeguard figured out what was going on and got him and pulled him out of the water.
Dear
Again,
God,
this
he sawed in
person.
half.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn it, Johnson. We knew you were sorry you were smart when we hired you, but we didn't know you were a fucking genius. Thank you. Thank you.
You're promoted to lifeguard leader of the
To,
lifeguards. You're
to
promoted to
all
Zac Efron.
lifeguard.
You're
You're
promoted to Zac Efron.
Jesus Christ.
uh, well, and he bled to death on the beach. And if you don't know the reference, he was in the new Baywatch movie, the remake of Baywatch.
For some reason, I don't think our general listener demographic saw that, Joey. And if they come after us, I'll defend you. So
Thank you. I guess I
no
could
problem.
take it into more back in the day terms. Was Patrick Swayze in the original Baywatch?
Easter
No.
eggs? No, 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 no. That was
Oh,
oh my god. I have he was in the
yep.
SpongeBob movie. He was in God damn it. Why am I have his face hops. Brain not
Dustin
work.
Hoffman. Dustin
No, it's
Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. It's fucking oh my god. Somebody's gonna pop in the chat here in a
Yeah,
moment and say
somebody's
it.
got it. We will figure it
Why
out
can
later.
I literally can see him. David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff. Well, he
Yes.
got promoted to David Hasselhoff. There was our long-winded joke that now we have to love.
He was David Hasselhoff's grandfather.
Yes.
But yes.
Number 2 deaths out of that. Then, in one day in Matawan Creek near the town of Keyport, which is also, again, along the strip of the islands or the little beaches along New
Mhm.
Jersey, on July 12th, a
Joycey.
group of local boys noticed a dorsal fin in the water, which is normal, and while they were swimming with their dog. And as they were trying to climb out of the creek, so this one is different. It's kind of a
Mhm.
creek. It's not actually in the open ocean. The
Mm.
shark pulled one of the boys underwater and the boy was eventually recovered upstream. When the other boys went to run to get help, an older man came to investigate. And when he dove into the creek, he was also bitten by the shark and then he bled to
God
death.
damn.
So that shark got two people in like one little part of the day.
Jesus, man. See, this is what
Mhm.
happened before we all started polluting more. The sharks didn't have anything to eat. They were
Mhm.
this is just an anti-environment episode by
They
accident.
didn't have anything to be afraid of.
I am
They
being
couldn't be afraid of us.
heavily sarcastic, everyone, by the way.
Yes. They
Um,
weren't afraid of us yet because we didn't know what plastic was. Um, the last victim of shark attacks, which is on the same day, July 12th,
Jesus
was a man
Christ.
named
Yeah.
Joseph Dunn, nearly 30 minutes and a half mile from the other attacks that day. Feasibly, the same shark. The shark bit Dunn's left leg, stripping off the flesh. He was the
This shark
last
has a
victim.
leg fetish.
But luckily, he was the only one to survive. He barely survived. He didn't bleed to death. So he was the last
Okay.
victim of being bitten by the shark.
Okay.
I do want to say these deaths nowadays, like I said earlier, are very rare, but we also don't see a lot of victims bitten in the same area. There hasn't been one of these since then. Usually they're like one bite.
Mm.
We get one bite and nobody really dies because most of the time they just kind of get out and they're like have a chunk of their leg missing. It's mostly surfers. And we know why
Yeah.
is because they're surfers. They're like surfboard is kind of shaped like a seal. So a lot of times
Mhm.
at surfboards are like a person, the shark bites because it's trying to feel. That's how it feels what it's looking for. So what is kind of funny about this is it's all along the same line. And what's unusual is that they thought and eventually they figured that it actually is probably the same shark that bit all of these people. And so when people were asked, they said they didn't know what kind of shark it was because it bit and they were kind of, most of them died, but the
Folks from
person who
Jersey
lived,
aren't fucking snitches.
no, exactly. Yeah, you're right. They're not going to snitch on that shark, and neither were the other
No,
sharks in the area.
no,
Hmm.
no.
Nope.
Ain't nobody snitching. What are you, a game warden? You talking about a forest cop? Get out of here.
Yeah. Well, the thought though that it was either a bull shark or a great white shark. And
Mm,
one of the reasons they don't think, well, I'll get into this, but they don't think it was a great white shark is because one of
mhm.
them was in the river. Was like right
Oh, yeah.
upstream a little bit, and great white sharks can't get upstream, but bull sharks can and have been known to
Yeah.
go into river, like little areas where obviously it's not
Freshwater
all the way up the
areas.
river.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all the way up the river, but it was close enough to be like, great white probably wouldn't be in this area. But
Yeah.
this mass shark attack in New Jersey became the influence for Peter Benchley's book Jaws and the subsequent movie Jaws because of it all happened.
Mm,
At the time in like I think 60s and 70s, the idea was that it was a great white shark. So when the
mm,
book was written, they thought it was a great white shark. So they were like, "Oh, obviously this is a town." And in obviously in the movie, it's New Jersey, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Makes
pretty
sense.
much
I
took it
also
straight
I
from
need
there.
I need to point something out that kind of goes with your data earlier,
Mhm.
your statistics. Wondering where you got those, but as the number of shark attacks have gone down, so too has the manatee population. Throwing it out, just putting it out there. I'm just calling it like I see
A complete, widely un unresearched piece
it.
of data that Gil threw out there.
I don't know.
Buy your teas from Manatee. Um, we get money every time we say it, so we got to say it a few times
Yeah,
during the episode. Well,
we are
dude,
manatee shills at this point. Um,
we are. I know, and Gil, even though Gil was trying to throw them under the bus earlier for all the deaths, that's part of it. We got to got to
they
have one
paid
that
me a
likes
lot of
them.
money. I had to take it.
That's true.
I had to take it.
That's true. You
I
had to
almost
take
had
it.
enough for like a cheeseburger at that point. Like I can't say no to
Hmm.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. They do say though, and is basically, if you have very strong feelings on both sides of the argument, it'll get more traction. If you have one that hates it and one that's for it, argues together, probably blow up a little bit more on the internet. That's what they say. Well, due to the amount of shark attacks in such a small time period, it got all the way to the federal government. So I think that's what makes this most interesting is also the reaction to the shark attacks. During the following days and weeks after the attacks, people started patrolling the beach in motorboats with weapons and huge nets, trying to catch any shark they could and kill it.
Fuck
So
yeah, America. This is the fucking way we respond to shit.
they were shooting wildly into the waters without finding out if it was a shark or not. So it was just like,
Or
I
a
mean, I don't
small
know.
child.
Yeah, yeah, or a small child. They didn't know, so
God
they just be
damn it.
like, woohoo! And it's people from New Jersey
David, look.
too. So,
One of them sharks shot this kid. God damn. We were just over here. I know. How'd we miss it?
yeah, yeah. Well, it didn't stop there because residents of the place where the second bite happened, they started patrolling the waters with nets and started using dynamite to blow up anything resembling a shark. So they're just tossing dynamite into the water.
Oh my god. This is I get to hear I'm proud to be an American just
America.
blasting the whole time.
Yeah. Lee Greenwood blasting.
People are just like going out there selling hot dogs. They're selling shark hunter t-shirts out there.
Hmm.
There's already somebody who's made shirts that just like They're like, and my mom called me crazy when I spent my inheritance on this.
Yeah, yeah.
Now who'll show her?
Yep. Fight the
I
sharks.
fucking
Be
love
a
it.
manatee. Well.
It was actually just manatees out there with fake mustaches on, being like,
Hmm? Hmm?
"Hmm?"
They're also selling TNT.
Wow.
The manatees. The most dangerous game.
And this episode is also brought to you. This episode's also brought to you by Manatee and Tea, your place for hydrating explosives.
God. That one's pretty good. Well.
located located in Tampa, Florida, next to Manatee's T-shirt shop.
Whoa. As they were going through the area and blowing up the shoreline, obviously, the
Yeah.
government also had a shark bounty in the area. For anyone who killed a shark, there was $100 reward. So in
Oh my god.
$2024, that was about $2,900 per shark. So that's a fair bit. What's funny is that it was
Yeah.
reported that there were absolutely no sharks killed or captured in the area at all. There, no one claimed the reward for killing any sharks in the area, so no one got that bounty. They were just tossing dynamite and TNT into the
It's
water,
because
blowing shit
it's
up for no
because
reason.
it's because there were no sharks. It was manatees the whole fucking time. I've been trying to tell you this.
Yeah, yeah, it was manatees.
God damn it.
Well, after that, after they had basically employed a bunch of what would we call them? Like a
A
militia
manatee
of
militia.
shark hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah, a manatee militia of
Jesus.
shark hunters. The New Jersey House of Representatives started a
Oh.
shark hunt, deploying the Coast Guard. So they started putting the Coast Guard out on this. The Coast Guard, however, was
The
much
Coast Guard.
better at killing
I was,
sharks.
I was gonna say the Coast Guard just called back and be like, you expect us to outperform a bunch of people from Jersey Shore? Wait, what day is it April 1st? I don't the governor wants us to, and everybody's just cracking up laughing at
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Damn it. Like, so
Yeah.
they were
Well,
better though. Somehow they
the
were
Coast
better.
Guard actually killed hundreds of sharks. I
Oh, Jesus
imagine
Christ.
I imagine the Coast Guard was
They
able
must have
to
been
go
from France or
yeah, I imagine the Coast Guard was able to go a bit farther out. And
mm.
so I imagine the people the New Jersey representatives from the shark hunt were probably getting on the shoreline where there probably wasn't that many sharks in the moment, or in the river where there was no sharks at all. And then they were
Oh my
blowing
god.
up the river, and the Coast Guard was like, well, why don't we just go a little farther out where most likely there are sharks and enough room? And so they killed hundreds of sharks. It eventually was called the largest scale animal hunt in history.
Holy fuck. This is bigger
Yeah.
than the Emu Wars?
Yes, because of how many were killed.
Whoa.
Well,
Fuck.
to be fair,
I
nothing
feel
really
bad for
came
the
out of it
sharks.
besides killing hundreds of sharks, which is real shitty.
Two inconspicuous businesses that opened in Tampa, Florida.
Manatee and manatee and tea. Uh, it was also likely just one shark that got a taste for flesh and trolled the shoreline and found a few people to snack on. I doubt that shark was even killed. I doubt they ever found the real shark that did it. And I imagine, just by the way everything happened, it was one shark that just boop, started eating people, you know?
Yeah. Hmm. I got
Mm.
nothing. You know how I feel about it. I think
Mm-hmm.
the sharks are completely innocent. I think
Yeah.
we know who the
Well,
real culprits are. The
as
real
I
kelp
said to you through
culprits.
text, murder shark do 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 do, murder shark do do
Kill that
do do
baby.
do, murder shark. Well.
Baby's dead. Do 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 do. He got bit. Do 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 do.
Aw, the poor man, and you know what? The sharks were the unintended victims of this. The manatees were the true haters. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just saying, follow the money. Follow the money.
yeah. The two businesses that opened up right after this.
Real sus. You know what's also odd? I looked into their records. The only day they didn't go into work in 2001 was on 9/11 at their
9/11.
office in downtown Manhattan.
That's scary.
Mm, why were
Now we
there
got to
no
look into
manatees
this.
there?
That's true. Why were there no manatees?
We're gonna get assassinated for this. This
Yeah.
is
Oh,
we
I
gotta
know. They're
take this
already on
down.
their way. They're already on their way. Well,
Manatee,
T T T T
blue
T
shade
T
up,
man. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you should have
the
saved this story
next.
for the end because that's just stuck in my fucking
Oh,
brain.
good. You'll just sing it through the
God
rest of the
damn it.
episode. Just hum it through the rest of the episode. Well, the next unusual death is truly, maybe I'll say out of this world, but kind of in this world. Maybe pulled out of the air. It involved
Okay.
an ancient Athenian and father of the modern tragedy, a Silas. So I can never really say this right. I think it's a Silas. Yeah. A Silas was
A
born in either
stylus.
A Skylus.
Mhm.
I don't know how to say Athenian names. I don't think, they make it's it's whatever. A
Yeah.
Silas was born in either 525 or 524 BC. Always kind of up in the air. We don't really always know when people are born before, a long time ago because it's not always made clear. He was born in a small town northwest of Athens, not Ohio, but in near Greece. He was a playwright as well as a soldier and a commander.
Thanks for the
Well,
clarification, Joey.
you're welcome.
I don't know why we would have records of a Greek person born in the non-existent state of Ohio in
You never know.
524 or
You
525.
never know.
But
Well,
no.
in 490 BC, he fought and helped defeat the army of Darius the First of Persia at the Battle of Marathon, which obviously is how we got the modern day
So
idea
much
of the
running at that
marathon.
battle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in 480 BC, he was sent into battle again, this time with Xerxes the First invasion at the Battle of Salamis. This is all to say that he was a pretty prolific warrior. His military prowess wasn't the only expertise he had. He shone so brightly as a popular playwright. And as I said earlier, he created the idea of the modern tragedy. Aeschylus kept winning the Dionysian competitions for playwrights, and he had in between 70 to 90 plays attributed to him throughout his life, which is a lot
Damn.
of plays. That's a lot of
It
plays.
To be fair though, plays were kind of a new concept back then, and it was mostly just like a guy walking up on a stage and being like, "I am a chicken. Can I vote?" And then they just walk away. Everybody's like,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
everybody from Sparta is in the crowd. They're just
Hmm.
like, fucking philosophers over here fucking are weird. Just like,
Kill him. Kill him. Fight him.
kick him in the pit. Kick him in
Yeah,
the
yeah. Kick
goddamn
him in the
pit.
pit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But out of those 70 to 90 plays, only 7 actually remain intact, like 7 full plays that we still have. The plays are The Persians, 7 Against Thebes, The Suppliants, and the trilogy known as the Oresteia, which is basically the 3 tragedies of Agamemnon. The 3 tragedies
These
of
Martin
Agamemnon.
Scorsese titles. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
The Purge.
The 3
The
tragedies of
three the three
Agamemnon.
judges.
I mean, it's a lot of names. These are. I'm sorry for mispronouncing them. There's like crazy names in here that I don't know how to pronounce. But
No, you're doing great.
yeah, the Oresteia, which is basically 3 tragedies: the Agamemnon, the libation bearers, and the Eumenides. The libation bearers are just people who bring in your drinks.
And Agamemnon 2, Electric
Yes, Boogaloo.
Agamemnon Lou. I had something.
Agamemnon.
I forgot.
Mhm. It's okay. And Prometheus Bound was the last one, the last of the 7 that was like saved,
That's a dope
basically.
title. That's a really
Mhm.
fucking dope title.
Prometheus Bound.
Damn,
Well,
that's
besides
good.
all his cool background, he actually had a unusual death, and we call it the most unlucky death you could probably ever have.
Okay.
Asilas, when he was about 67, was visiting the city of Gala in about 456 BC, and he was sleeping outside. Because his head was bald, an eagle mistook his head for a rock and dropped a turtle on his head, trying to crack open the turtle shell so he could eat him. The turtle shell killed him instantly, and he died because an eagle dropped a like really high up, dropped a turtle on his bald head.
Why didn't you open with this? God
I don't know.
fuck.
It was a good one. Well, what's funny is it's not really
It's pretty fucking
it's
funny.
it is funny. I mean, it's really funny, but there is a tiny side story about why he was sleeping
About the
outside,
turtle's
right?
adventure leading up to
No,
this moment.
no, that would be great if they had the Turtles Adventure. But why he was sleeping outside, right? So normally everyone, obviously at this time they're already sleep. He was sleeping inside, but he was told by like a fortune teller of some sort that he was
You will
going
have
to
the
be
best
killed
turtle
by
soup of your
something.
life if you sleep outside this evening.
He was going to be killed by something falling off and hitting him in the head. And he thought that like because if he slept outside, he would have way less of a chance of something falling off like a shelf or falling off the roof and hitting him in the head. So he's like, well, let's go where like not much can fall on me. I mean, besides rain, besides hail, besides ash, besides
Full grown
lots of
turtle.
stuff. Besides a full grown turtle. Yes. Yeah, and he died. And that is
I
the
just,
end
I think,
of his
I think
story.
the second like, thank you so much, Mystic. I really appreciate this. I'm a huge fan. I'll be putting your tip over in this jar. Thank you again so much for your time. Walks out the door slowly. Mystic turns around, rips off the veil. It's a fucking manatee holding a pack of Killed Turtles t-shirts ready to start sales.
Dude, I'm telling you, they know how to market.
They just they're kind of like arms dealers for like the genocide of other animals. I think
Yeah,
that's the
that's
best way to
true.
really picture manatees.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there's a lot of animals in these deaths for these ones because the next one involves an animal too.
What do you think, so Grecius? What do you think happened to him? I don't. Kill the turtles! Kill the turtles! Get your shirts over here, sir. Sir, do you know what happened to him? What the guy who got killed by a turtle? How do you know? How do you have these shirts so fast? You look good in an XL. Has anybody ever told
Yeah, you'd look good in an XL. This is turtle green too, so this is going to be
Spartan
perfect on
cotton?
you.
This is
Hmm.
nice. Yes, it's said to
Yeah.
help repel eagles as well.
Oh, 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 I like eagles, but I'd like to repel them. Um, well, he died.
America was assassinating people in other countries before it even existed.
Dude, that's the CIA for you. They were implanting, they went back in time, implanted eagles' brains on how to murder people.
Time traveling eagle drones.
That sounds like
That's
a
fun.
Danger 5
I'm
plot line if I've ever
convinced.
heard one.
Actually, it does.
Yeah,
We need to bring that show back.
they do. Well, our next story is another short one, but also has another animal in it. So this is the first three are going to be some animal ones, which is, they
Mhm.
are pretty interesting. It's one of the weirdest stories I think I've heard, actually, with all these ones we've done. Well, on August 25th, it's actually a recent one. August 25th of 2010, a Let L410 turbolet passenger plane flown by Philair took off from the Badandu airport in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And you remember, as I told you recently, I was looking up all the
Mhm.
African countries. This is also one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
This passenger plane was able to hold about 19 passengers and it was sold out. So there was 21 people on board of this, 19 passengers, two pilots. Well,
Okay.
as it was on its final approach to the airport to land, it started losing its stability to the point that it started rapidly falling and just crashed just short of the runway directly into a
Ooh.
house. Directly into a
Ooh.
house. So, Gil, I can
Didn't
imagine
this
you had lots of fears when you lived underneath the airport in Ohio.
No, the gases kept me pretty pretty calm.
Pretty high. Yeah.
Yeah, the gases and the pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something about all that lead in the atmosphere directly above where I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Eh, just glad they proved there were no long-term side effects back when I was a kid. I
Sure
am
did.
throwing this up in the chat real quick. Gonna have to cut this out.
Mm-hmm.
Should this episode be renamed to the Manatee Conspiracy? I don't know.
That's a
Just throwing
good
it
one.
out there.
Well, you know what, Gil?
Been
The
waiting.
only thing that
Yeah.
that lead caused was you being a leader.
What are we doing?
I'm making puns because lead is the beginning of leader.
Oh, we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, we
Anyways, oh
do
yeah,
have podcast. Yeah,
we were talking
we're
about my
talking
lead
about
exposure. Yeah,
yeah
no.
lead exposure. Yep, the
Oh,
exposure
yeah.
to the lead that
It's
you
a terrible
cannot
joke.
remember what's going on anymore. Well,
Mm,
due to this plane crash, luckily the house was empty. The house that the plane crashed into was empty. Luckily, nobody was in the house, so no one died. Well,
okay.
out of the plane crash, 20 out of the 21 people died in the crash.
Damn,
And
dude.
just like the recent plane crash in India, where there was exactly one single survivor, seat
Oh,
11E, remember?
yeah,
Everyone made the joke about, like, now I'm sitting in 11E because it seems like that's the only place that people survive. Actually, the middle
pretty
of the
much.
plane is always the place where you survive.
Except for these specific cases
Well, I
or
mean,
when manatees are involved.
the plane crash in the Andes, the people in the middle of it survived. Everybody in the front died. Everybody in the back flew out the back. So it was kind of like a very interesting. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. If you're in first class, you're gonna be first dead. So that's the.
That's how I
Well,
like them.
the crash was crazy because, as I said, it just fell short of the runway. But when the
Mhm.
one person who survived was questioned after he like kind of recovered, kind of got back his senses, they questioned him like, "Do you know why this happened? You guys were right, really close to the runway." He said that somebody smuggled a crocodile aboard and it got loose. As the crocodile made its way up the aisle to the front of the plane,
Shit.
everyone started running towards the cockpit, which caused the loss of balance in the plane because they are very balanced to have people in all parts of it. It crashed, it pulled the nose down as they were getting there and crashed into the ground. It's really terrible, but it takes the snakes on the plane movie, which I thought should have been crocodiles on a plane movie.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch that and be like, this this movie is based on a series of actual events or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I too, like many Americans,
Mhm.
feel that the TSA is a little bit overboard with their security and safety checks and what you can and can't bring on a plane. I think this is the one time where I'm gonna have to side with them. You should not bring your emotional support large reptile onto a plane with you.
Do you know
This
what's
could have
funny?
happened with a Komodo dragon.
People do. People have tried. I've seen
Is
so
that the
many
one thing
stories.
that's not illegal to bring on a plane?
No, you can't have a no. They say no, you can't have a crocodile in there. But there have been
Yeah,
people, and
emotional
they're
support.
obviously from Florida, and they because there's a lot of crocodiles down there.
Yeah. This
Actually,
this Croc is like my kid. He's
yeah,
going on vacation with us.
I will say,
He's always wanted to
alligator.
go to
Excuse
Tuscany. How could you take
me.
this from him?
How could you take this from my emotional support, crocodile? But yeah, basically, it broke loose, put everyone in the front. They all died except for this one person. And they what's funny is as he was
Mm.
telling people this, the people that were interviewing him were like, "That's not true. That didn't happen." He's like, "No, this happened. This completely happened." And they're it's like, "No, you're just delirious." And so a lot of people still don't believe this guy to this day that a crocodile was on there.
It's really interesting that there was no crocodile carcass found. But I'm pulling up some images here. I don't know if I'll be able to show them. Uh, did you get a look at the coroner?
It's a manatee.
Fairly it's a
It's a
manatee.
manatee.
It's a manatee standing there in a robe with, like, a very cheap crocodile costume hanging out of a dumpster next.
It was the manatees all along.
I fucking knew it. Joey,
They
this
keep
makes so
going.
much sense.
Well, let's get into our first one that doesn't have to do with animals. And our next two don't
Let's
have to
see
do with
about
animals. So, oh wait, no. Well, it's the
that.
only one today that doesn't have to do with animals. So, we almost got through it. Well, this one is an unusual death that you might have actually heard of, and it be sure to get you out of your seat. The outbreak of this started in July of 1518 in Strasbourg, which was at the time part of the Holy Roman Empire and became part of France eventually. It changed hands a few times during wars and eventually reverted back to France after World War One, and then to Germany, obviously, during World War Two, and then back to France after World War Two.
This story actually, while it has nothing to do with animals, is entirely based off of nation state lines. That this is the murder that we're talking about.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. Well, in July of
Next is
1518,
Constantinople. Yeah, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, a woman named Frau Trofe and her daughter Fraulein Emma Gotz started dancing in what would be called an uncontrollable and fervent manner. So just picture someone, and I know you probably don't know what I'm saying, and this is completely tripping their mind off at Coachella, just flailing their bodies fervently, continuously. They are
Hold on.
having the
I
time of
got
their
you.
life. Mhm,
I got you, bud. Um, Give me just a moment here.
mhm.
Hold. Uh, Looking for a good year. Looking for a good year. Oh, there's got to be some from the 60s. Really? Try the 1980s. Yeah. Hold. Hold. This is surprisingly hard to find. I guess there was no
Oh.
cameraman. I'm looking
Yeah.
up Grateful Dead crowd footage from the from the 70s.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
need to
because you would
see an
see people going
example,
crazy.
if you need to see an example of what these folks were dancing like, go look up some crowd footage from Grateful Dead show.
Mhm.
It's pretty
Well,
much exactly the same. But
it is exactly the same. They're having the time of their life, but it is actually kinda scary. The kind of tripping that if you stop dancing, you feel like you'll die. Well, they were dancing on a
that's what staying
small
alive
cobbled
was
street.
about.
It was, right?
Fucking have been wondering for God. Saturday Night Fever, staying out. Dude, these songs make so much more sense now. They had dance hysteria.
They had dance hysteria. Yep.
Fucking shit.
Well, they were dancing on the small cobbled street outside of their homes. So, at the beginning, there was no music playing while they were dancing, just
Just the
completely
tune of
out
life,
of their
baby.
mind. Yeah, the tune of
Hmm.
life. Well, as people were passing by and noticing those two continuously dancing, jerking,
That looks
jiving,
fun.
they
Yeah,
started to mimic
working.
her. Yep, yeah, they started to mimic her.
Is that old Mrs. Wilson twerking on a crumpet? I do
Just a
believe it is.
crumpet.
I'm
Mhm.
kind of jealous. I am too. Do you think anyone would care if we joined? Mm, we'll bring some alcohol. Okay, let's go.
Yeah,
Then it
well,
became a fucking party.
it did, and they didn't stop for a week,
Can't
and
stop, won't
people
stop.
kept
Dance strike.
joining in. More than
Mhm.
30 people started
Got
dancing
that boogie
alongside
fever.
her and her daughter. Yep, yep, it's literally Saturday Night Fever. This started in early to mid-July, and it
Mm,
lasted all the
fun.
way until mid-August.
You know, man, once you got that vibe though, can't really go back. What
Yeah.
do we not
Well, here's where
have?
it goes downhill. Because, well,
Okay.
they probably weren't drinking enough water or eating at all
Mm.
because they were burning calories like this. I mean, if you ever dance, you get tired after like
Are
15
you
minutes
sure
of
these
dancing.
weren't a bunch of time travelers from the disco era that just all like just boogied so fucking hard that they went back in time while they were hopped up on coke?
They coked themselves up. That's the true secret to time
And just
travel.
it's literally time travel.
Yeah, yeah.
This makes sense.
Well, they pooled with sweat, drenched in it, basically wringing all the water out of their bodies. And due to their probably terrible clothes and shoes at the time, blood
Sounds like the
started
disco
pooling
era.
in their shoes and all over the ground. So just imagine how horrifying this and funny in some ways, but horrifying this is if you just watch somebody continuously dancing. You're like, "Oh yeah," for the first couple days you're like, "Damn, they're having fun." And then like they're
Hmm.
smiling, but they're almost like not smiling. The victims were starting to cry and scream for help while they were dancing because of weeks they couldn't get they couldn't eat enough food and they couldn't stop. The lucky ones were dying of heart attacks. The lucky ones were dying of heart attacks. The other
This is
ones just
exactly like the disco era, Joey. Think
it's
about
true.
it.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well,
Back when Coke was considered fun before they knew that caused problems, the lucky ones were dying early from heart
yeah.
attacks while everybody was in polyester suits and very uncomfortable platform shoes. Their feet were bleeding, they were sweating.
Mhm.
And who sold those suits anyways?
Manatees. We're back right around. Well, during August, the town actually started constructing a stage and brought in musicians and professional dancers as these people that couldn't stop dancing were dying. They were like there's blood on the ground, blood in their shoes, blood on the ground, and the government was like, "You know what? Let's take advantage of this fever and let's make everybody dance." And they're like, "They're going to dance. At least we'll get rid of some of them, you know?" In a so government thing to just let people dance to their death with not caring.
Jesus Christ. So they sent in the New Jersey National Guard.
Yeah, so they sent in the New Jersey National Guard to take care of them. Well, once it hit its
And
peak,
that is how Guidos came to be. It's the origin story. It's, hey,
exactly.
mama, hey.
I mean, it was kind of near Italy at the time.
This
Well,
tracks. Just
once it
think
hit its
about it.
peak, there were
Mhm.
15 people dying per day dancing themselves to death, which is
How
a
many
shit
people
ton of
were in
people.
this town?
It's Strasbourg. It was a pretty big town in the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah, but like back in the day, like I pictured like that's a shit ton of people. And yeah,
Yeah, there
fucking
is a good
hell.
amount of people. I mean, I imagine there's thousands, honestly. I imagine there's thousands in this town. Um, well, there are no exact concrete like numbers of death tolls. So I did a little wild stab in the dark of like how many people I think died during this time. Because I would say if you die within 3 to 5 days without water, right? So you're dying, you can only
Okay.
go with 3 to 5 days. I imagine the first few days they had water.
They were good.
So they
Yeah.
had some water for, I'd say if you started on July 11th, you give it 4 days, so that's the 15th. It would have taken about, in my opinion, around 800 lives if it was about the correct count at 15 per day. So 800 people, in my estimate, died of dancing to death.
Dance Dance Fever.
Dance, dance fever, and now you did. Well, during the time, there was no known cure for, I call it dancitis or maybe flossitis. The physicians said they would have to dance themselves free of it. So they basically said these people just have to dance themselves to death because they didn't know there was
Excuse
anything.
me, Doctor. Dr. Dog and Dr. Funk. What do you think we should do? Well, they're just gonna have to dance themselves through it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they didn't know what was going on, and it was a bad idea, obviously. I mean, who knows? So,
You can't
just
just
like
interrupt
governments,
somebody while they're dancing. What else could they do? You know?
well, this they
Like,
can do this. So,
oh,
obviously, like governments do, because people started dying doing this, they banned public dancing. The government of Strasbourg banned public dancing. And when that didn't stop it, I mean, obviously, what are they going to do? Those people are going to probably die anyways because they don't know how to fix it. So they just, after that, they went, well, nobody's not stopping dancing. Now we have to ban the
What are we
music.
doing? They're breaking the law.
They
They're
banned
not
the
choosing
music.
to die dancing.
Yeah, yeah. They banned the
Oh, for sure,
music
that
that
was
they had brought in themselves. So, and the dancers that they had brought themselves. Because remember, they brought in pro dancers and pro musicians to play. And so after that, they banned both of those. And it still
the
didn't stop anything.
you're right. This is the most government shit possible. Where they're
Yeah.
like, fine, if you're not going to follow the law that we made up, we're just going to take away all the shit that we gave you that made your shit worse. Huh, how do you like them apples?
Yeah.
See, we are tough on crime.
Yeah. I mean, maybe for part of it, it made it nicer because at least in the background of someone dancing to death, they had a nice backbeat to it, like
Well,
as they're bleeding to
there's
death on the ground, there's like boom, 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 boom,
there
boom,
would be
boom.
like hysterical like wails and like crying and like all sorts
Yeah.
of really
Yeah.
fucked up sounds coming out.
Yeah.
Um, And then not just in New Jersey, but also here too, there would be hysterical wails and there'd be crying and all sorts. That was a bad joke.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but yes, I mean honestly the music made sense. But I think what happened is um uh too much of the government's tax revenue was dying off and they couldn't afford to pay the band anymore. That would be my assumption.
Oh, yeah, that could have been. Yeah, that might be true, actually. Well, obviously, none of that
Mm,
worked. So,
not at
like,
all.
obviously, banning music and banning dancing did not work. And eventually,
Never
they
does.
took the people who were afflicted with it to a monastery in the hills and either restrained them or just let them dance until they died
The
in the hills in the
longest
monastery.
mariachi
Yeah,
line in
yeah.
history.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
All
dun,
right,
dun,
let's
dun,
go. Yeah,
dun.
let's
Every
go.
time they go like done, like hit left or hit right, there's just another body falling out and rolling down it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mariachi of
So
death.
so what's crazy? So there is some interesting stuff, well, about this, right? So
If you need to know about the chemical behind it,
ergot poisoning.
forgot. Yep,
Yeah.
LSE,
They
baby.
they don't know if it was really that. They did
It
say it could have been ergot poisoning because obviously that happened a lot during this time.
take it from someone
Um
who's taken ergot. This sounds about right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But a lot of people yeah, I guess, basically yeah, LSD. Eventually what it would be. Um
Yeah,
Some people thought it actually could have been just like some kind of mass hysteria in the
yeah.
time.
Which is
They call it like a dancing curse too, which actually became a disorder that they figured out. But we'll talk about that after you go.
I'm starting to wonder here about all these moments in history where it's like they were first labeled mass hysteria. Like every fucking
Hmm.
time an anomaly happens, and instead of saying it's a phenomenon, which is like the term you would use for not currently understood, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
they say hysteria and it kind of like downplays it. It makes the people involved seem like they're stupid or
Crazy. Oh, they're
weak-minded
crazy.
or
Yeah.
they're crazy or there was
Hmm.
so many things going on you would understand if they lost their wits. It's hysteria. And I just wonder about who has been traveling through time constantly labeling things at the moment of events as hysteria and then disappearing before they lose their medical license. We're taking a road trip to Tampa. Anyways,
Well, eventually, it became labeled as Saint Vitus dance, which was name of the disorder that what they think it called. That actually got renamed to Sydenham's
Sino.
Chorea.
Wasn't it? I thought it was it St. Elmo's fire?
That's
Was
the
another term
neurological
for it.
disease.
Oh, maybe St. Anthony's fire? I don't know.
Saint Elmo's
Continue.
fire sounds right, but Saint Vitus's
Mhm,
dance is what it's like, what it became.
mm.
And so the reason that's the name Saint Vitus is because Saint Vitus was actually a in the Middle Ages, he was counted as one of the 14 holy helpers in Germany, and he had a feast that was celebrated with dancing before his statue. And dancing became synonymous with Saint
Ah,
Vitus. And so they added this. He became the
got that.
patron saint of dancers and of entertainers in general. And he was also
Ah.
said to protect against lightning strikes, animal attacks, and oversleeping. So all the other people in her other stories could have
Hmm.
used Saint Vitus's help.
Got that Saint Vitus-itis. That's,
Hmm.
damn. So, I don't think you got are you getting into where ergot pops up and why they got exposed to it?
They don't think, for the most part, that it
I
was
got you.
ergot poisoning. They think it was probably just the neurological damage that they had from Korea. From sorry, relook at what it says because I always forgetting it.
I thought it was
The Sydenham's Korea. That's what they really think that it was. They didn't think that it was because of the idea of the way that they jerked and their bodies moved, and that it wasn't ergot because it would have eventually gone out of their system because they weren't eating.
mm, that is a
They
good
weren't
point.
eating. And
So,
so uh,
the the reason why we're having this debate, though, about the ergot is that ergot on untreated, rye and, like, grains, bread grains, cereal grains, ergot's a type of fungus that can naturally
mhm,
appear on the grains themselves, um, and it's not necessarily easy to
mm,
notice that it is on grains, and
yep,
especially when you're going through and just kind of, like, processing shit tons of grain to turn into flour, to turn into bread.
yep.
Back in the day when towns only had like one or two bakers and everybody got their bread from the same place, it's kind of like wherever the hell those one or two bakers managed to source their raw materials to make everybody's bread, that's the ingredients everyone's getting that day. Of rye came in, for instance, that was infected with ergot. A baker made a big old batch of bread and sent it out to everybody. An entire town or neighborhood or a city could like all start experiencing very intense hallucinations and things very similar to to this
Mhm.
mass dance craze here, the first disco era. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I got to throw it out there. um, Actually, no, we'll save that for a bonus about how LSA and LSD. Uh, ergot led to LSD.
Yes. We'll do that in the show afterwards. Yeah. So this wasn't the only example of either. Hey Gil, your audio's off.
Oh,
There you
maybe that was a sign.
go.
Anyways, I was gonna say, yeah, if you join up on our Patreon, to get the after hours, the behind the scenes episode, I'll be teaching you how to safely acquire and process. Microphone got muted again. Anyways, but you guys should stick around.
Nice. Well, this wasn't the only example of this either, because in the 11th century in Saxony, it happened as well as in Italy in the 15th century. The Italian one happened because
Disco
a
fever.
woman was supposedly bitten by a tarantula and the venom was working through her body, made her jerk and move until the venom succumbed her. So basically,
Hmm,
that wasn't but it found out eventually that that wasn't part of the same thing that happened in the Strasbourg dancing plague, is which it became called, and it was just venom that eventually killed her. But these people, from again, like it's not always cut and dry what it is. So could have been some ergot poisoning, could have been the St. Vitus's dance, or what it is now called as Sydenham's chorea, neurological jerking and like uncontrollable movement of your body. So
gotcha.
could have been either of those things, but again, it's in the past. A lot of times, if it's not super well notated, it's kind of hard to for us to figure it out. Well,
Okay.
these last two stories that we're going to hop into are going to be rather short, but I wanted to get them in here because just how ridiculous they are. The next story is that of Samuel Spencer. Samuel was from Connecticut and born in 1734. He became a lawyer and eventually a politician, as what would normally happens, I guess, because most of the time in those days, if you become a lawyer, eventually become a politician. Happened a lot.
Hmm.
He moved from Connecticut to Anson County, North Carolina. Anson is right in between Charlotte and Fayetteville, so not super far from us, maybe like 4 hours from us. Well, he was elected to the state Congress in 1774 and 1775, and then become one of the three judges appointed to the first North Carolina Supreme Court in 1777. He eventually became a leader in the Anti Federalist and NC conventions. Prior to the revolution, he became a colonel in the local militia and eventually became a commandant on the American side of the revolution. Well, the reason we are introducing him is not because of the things that he did, but the things that were done to him, just like we always talk about in the most unusual death. Well, he died in 1793 while resting on his front porch, kind of like Aeschylus. Well, in between court sessions, he was taking a nice short snooze in a rocking chair right on his front porch. He was wearing a red cap on his head. Okay, you follow me? Follow me?
Yeah.
Probably said MAGA on it, basically. Something like that, because they would attack him. Well,
Mhm. Yeah.
a large turkey gobbler, thinking that the moving red cap was a challenge, attacked the man and threw him from his chair.
Whoa!
Samuel, covered in
Wha-
pecks and scratches, developed basically erysipelas and died in the first known
God.
case of death by turkey that wasn't on Thanksgiving. So he was murdered by a turkey.
Oh my god. I love that so
Yep.
much.
Yep. I'd never actually heard of a turkey killing someone, except on Thanksgiving, when it gave people choked on a turkey or something like that, turkey leg
Yeah.
you know.
Or they deep fry it and their house burns down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Damn.
It's a good
I
one.
love that
I like that
story.
one.
I
Hmm.
don't have anything funny. This is clearly not manatee related.
Nope.
Um,
That was a turkey.
yeah, that was 100%. I'm over here. I'm trying to find space. I've been keeping score of how many people manatees have killed, and I don't have a lot of room left for turkeys, but get that marked
Hmm.
down.
Yeah. I don't know why this turned into death by animals mostly, but that was just a lot of the stuff, the funny stuff that happened. Well, the last one.
Mhm.
It's probably the saddest one, right? So I know the
Oh, don't
last
do that to
episode
us.
I kind of lifted us up. I lifted us up
You
with the
kind of
guy
did.
who won the horse race after he died. Remember? And we were just like, yeah, fucking
That's pretty
died in the
great.
saddle. Yeah, he died in the
Yeah,
saddle. This one,
and settle.
I'm gonna depress all of you until we get to our next episode. We're gonna be depressed. So
What the fuck, Joey? Don't do that to
I
us.
know. I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this would accept an unusual death in this way. A man named Giacomo I should know this is Italian. A man named Giacomo Chiaparini owned a cheese warehouse. It's pretty recent too, as it happened in August of 2023.
What? Okay.
As Giacomo was walking and checking in on the massive amount of ripening cheese in his warehouse, he entered the area where a robotic arm was cleaning the cheese rounds during the aging process. So basically, it's like cutting off all the bad parts. Well, the ripening wheels that are stored on metal shelves, which go up to about 33 feet high, right? The whole warehouse itself stored up to 25,000 wheels of delicious, beautiful Grana Padano
Mm.
cheese.
Mm.
As he was checking in on the cheeses, one of the shelves broke in the warehouse and created a domino effect, knocking over every shelf and wheel of cheese. Giacomo was crushed by Grana Padano cheese. And at 74, they basically had to go in there by hand, pulling out each piece of cheese to uncover his dead body. And that's the saddest way to go. Death by cheese, not by cholesterol. And that's it
I don't feel.
for Unusual
I mean,
Deaths Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor Giacomo.
I mean, yeah.
All right, we're going to have to get to the
Coulda had
bottom of
it-
this. Every time I feel so sad by somebody dying, it's the other part of you being like, you know what I mean? I don't feel bad for this guy.
we clearly were pursuing different deaths, Joey. I'm just saying he could have had a turtle fall.
I guess he is that sad though. That's just funny. That's just funny. A turtle shell cracked on his bald head. So if this is
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The dude died, death by cheese. Well, it's not that like 1500-year mark, so I can't really make fun of it. You know what I'm saying?
no, I just feel bad for the guy though. He was just like he was doing the
Hmm.
world a service. He was creating
Honestly,
and
yeah.
getting Grana Padano
Yeah.
cheese out there. And if you haven't had Grana Padano, get you some Grana Padano cheese. Well,
Just don't get ground up by it.
nope. Just don't get flattened by it.
Just don't get ground on the ground. Wait, ground on the ground up by it. There's
Ground
probably
on the
a
round.
joke there.
Don't get ground on the round of cheese.
Don't get thrown around the ground. I should have read the script before today.
Oh, that's all good. Well, Gil, you want to hit that?
Hit the what? What do you want me to do? You want me to?
Well, thank you so much for listening to Black Cat Report in episode 136. Yes, 136. You can catch all our cool new stuff and other mini-sodes and game nights on Patreon at patreon.com/blackcatreport. Most of the stuff is literally free. We just like to use it as a nice way to give you all of the updates and new stuff that we do. One solid place for communication besides the podcast that you listen to. Also, G-Booze, K-Booze, D-Booze, and I will be airing and recording Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen tomorrow. And that is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, sir. August 5th, 2025, 9 p.m. Eastern Time at Beer, Booze, Boogeyman on YouTube.
The episode title is Sleep Paralysis and Sleep Paralysis Demons. You can call in and give us your story, or if you want to, you can send them into Ghost.Beer. We already have a lot of stories to read, and some of them are huge. So please call in, interrupt us while we're talking.
Yeah.
You can get it either that or on our IG, TikTok, Facebook DMs. You can get us there too. You can also catch me or Gil on one of the weekly Paranormal Happy Hours, which is our Beer, Booze, Boogeyman affiliate podcast. It's not really affiliate. I just like calling it affiliate. It's the same podcast. It's just 2 out of the 4 affiliated. Yeah. This coming week will be probably K-Booze and I. Yeah, we'll be doing it. And now we can get to our thank yous for all of our gracious and generous and gratuitous Patreon followers. If you haven't taken the time to follow us on Patreon. Do we have other news?
No, yep. There's somebody we need to give an extra special shout out to that I copied and pasted a screenshot of at the very top of your script before the word welcome, but you ran right through it, bud.
I did,
like
but we're gonna do it right now. We're gonna do it right now.
Yes,
we're gonna do it right now.
Yes. Right now.
We do want to thank The Nice Vegetarian for their great review on iTunes. Very cool and informative. Thank for y'all's hard work. Thumbs up.
That made us feel great.
Yeah, we do. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to review us. If you haven't, please take the time to go on wherever you're listening to us. It's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything. Just give us a little review. 5 stars and a little review. Or however you feel we're doing. If you feel we're not doing great, message us on Instagram. We'll fight you. But I won't look at it. Gil will look at it. He'll fight you. He's the fighter of the group. All right. If you haven't taken the time to follow us on Patreon, please do. Patreon.com/blackcatreport. You can get all of our cool stuff there. And we are ready to give our shout outs. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Good timing.
Do you want me to read the shout outs?
Do you want to? I can.
Oh, okay. When you ask, never mind. Please continue. You're
Yep.
confusing me.
All right.
Go for it, Joey.
We want to thank Oscar, Amandine, Stephanie, Harry Carey, Tristan, Bud, Don, Thomas, Little Mystery, Bobby, Betsabe, Lucas, Tim, D, Max, Ian, Morgan, Dragon Paw from the Starblood Chronicles podcast, Tim Miller from Miller's Monsters, Marissa, Gavin, fearless leader of the Chicken Cult, Rachel, Av, Jaden, Jackie, Yellow Bear, Dwayne, aka Snatch Twat, Alyssa, Bree, Michael Extreme, Kristen from the Paranorm Girl podcast, James, and most importantly, our sexiest producer.
Sexiest one.
Yep. Copy
Copy kitty.
Kitty. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week with Palmyra Atoll and the Sea Wind Murders, part 3.
Something like that. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.